Our second review of the day is going to be for the film Hamnet. Hamnet is a movie directed by Chloé Zhao. People might know Chloé Zhao there. She's a big awards darling there. She did that movie Nomad Land there. That was the movie with Frances McDormand there. People also know she stepped into the big blockbuster scene in the Marvel
The
movie
Eternals.
Eternals there. People say, what the fuck is that? People saw that movie?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, apparently not. But yes, she did that, but she's back again doing the artsy stuff there. She was like, okay, I got the big paycheck from that. I can go back to doing my good artsy stuff there. And she's doing that with Hamnet. What is Hamnet about? Well, this is a movie here starring Paul Mescal there. Paul Mescal, who you're basically seeing him everywhere. He's the new it guy right now. He was in Gladiator 2. He was also he's going to be Paul McCartney in the upcoming Beatles movie as well there. So you're starting to see him pop up in a lot of different places there. Then you have Jesse Buckley in this. Movie starts off as they're this like young couple. They from these different families there. Paul Mescal, who plays Will there. He's a tutor for one of the kids. They're part of Jesse Buckley's family, and they end up kind of romancing each other, falling in love, having children together. And then Will there, he gets stifled by the life in the country, goes off to London to begin life as a playwright, writer. And then you see the birth of what comes from Hamlet there. What inspired that? What was the motivation behind that? So it's all kind of leading up to that moment of, what is the catalyst event of that? So yes. Dusk, what are your thoughts? Hamnet.
This was based on the book written by Maggie O'Farrell. It was written about 2 years ago, so it's actually surprising. I'm sorry, in 2020. So it was about 5-year turnaround. That's actually pretty quick, all things considered. It's a fictional retelling, basically a fictional account of the grief of both William and his wife at the loss of their child Hamnet, and which inspired his play of Hamlet. And that's mostly what you're getting from it. You're getting basically the love and affection that he had for his son and his daughter, and the passing of their child, and basically parents' grief. Whether this is accurate to how they actually felt, basically that's just an interpretation of it, while also trying to interweave it into the actual production of the play of Hamlet.
Mm. This movie's been much talked about.
I'm sure it's going to get Academy Award. It's getting nominations, I'm sure.
Oh yes, I mean definitely. I've heard a lot of praise coming into this about the performances of both actors, lead actors, Paul Mescal and Jesse Buckley, specifically Jesse Buckley in this. And when you have movies about men who are the tortured artists and everything like that, I mean, it's always like, well, what about the women? Like the women feel kind of like afterthoughts in it and their place in lives. But really, mostly it is Jesse Buckley's movie as Agnes there. It is really mostly her movie, and she you see most of her through it. And at a certain point, because you see that, like I said, he's off to London most of the time, and he's kind of doing his thing. So yeah, I've heard a lot of, great word about that coming into this. I will say that leading up to things and to see when the event happens and when everything kind of finally comes to an end, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it felt like a lot getting there. I think this is a kind of very dull movie. I don't want to just say boring. I know dull and boring. I mean, those are I always think those are little lazy criticisms, but yeah, I just was not that into this all that much. I wasn't really motivated to really invested in this story all that much. I wasn't really that much invested in the romance. And when he finally is able to put on this thing, I mean, okay, it makes me go like, okay, I want to see Shakespeare in the Park. It makes me think I should see more local theater.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like, oh, like I'm really loving this right now. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of share it, where I think the production value for most of this is pretty good. I think it's mostly solid. You can definitely tell that a lot of the color has been stripped from this movie. It very much is very desaturated, which is what they're going for, a more melancholy, more kind of stripped bare tone.
Mm,
This movie is very much a dry, serious movie, which is very much, I guess, Chloe's strength. The director's strength, I should say. No, sorry, not Chloe. No, it is Chloe, yeah.
yeah, Chloé Zhao.
That Chloe Zhao. But it also means it to be, unfortunately, very dry. I think there's a lot of good technique here, but it is, I do appreciate the seriousness which it takes the subject, but I also think it leaves it, unfortunately, fairly dry. And unfortunately, I wouldn't say boring, but it feels it drag.
Mm. It does feel like it drags there, and on a technical level, I can appreciate it. I think,
Yeah.
it's different from what we just talked about with Ella McKay, where I felt like really wasn't on a technical level, really wasn't that much to be impressed by. So you have a bad story on top of, kind of not all that impressing visually of a movie. This is impressing visually as a movie. I think
Mm,
there are some shots here that are really great, especially the scenes where they're in the forest. There's some scenes with Jessie Buckley, like you saw in the trailer, where she's just like laying down, curled up in kind of like the fetal position. That's a really great shot. And there's like this kind of rumor about her character that she's like the daughter of a witch and everything like that. And she has a very not very traditionally religious. She believes more in the earth and kind of like that kind of aspect of things. And so I like a lot of the shots in that. That's really gorgeous looking. I like the score in it. I think the score is really great in this. I think the music is really amazing.
mhm.
I even think the performances by Paul Mescal, Jesse Buckley, are they my favorite performances of the year? No, they're not my favorite performances of the year, but I do think they do well. I do think when the scenes when they're it's more impressive to me when they're kind of in the quieter moments and kind
Mhm.
of together or frolicking, or maybe even more of the serious kind of back and forth that they have, rather than these big emotional
Yeah.
crying moments like that to me isn't really all that good. It's more of the quieter stuff that I'm more like there. What's your kind of opinion on that?
No, yeah, no, I very much feel that as well. The big sweeping moments aren't as interesting as the small, more intimate moments that Agnes and him share, and the him and his children. And I don't, I just, a lot of it feels Oscar bait. I don't like to use that term, but this is the
Mm,
definition of Oscar bait. Super emotional, very meant to get you pull on your heartstrings, be very melodramatic, very serious, evoke heavy emotions, and right from the tone to the way that the color is taken from everything and it's desaturated to hell and back to the
mm,
visuals. And I often just found myself kind of being more interested in I'm interested the aspect of him losing a child and them losing a child as parents, and then kind of going into that dark place and trying to create something from it is interesting. I just wish it wasn't so goddamn melodramatic about it, and I could just see that actually roll out naturally.
yeah.
Because when it does, when it actually sits the heck down and shows the writing process and him trying to make a way, and Agnes feeling as if basically he's abandoning their family, when it's like, "No, I need to, like, I wanna make something out of it," and then by the end, she finally understands.
Mm,
That's probably more of the better parts of it, but the movie takes sweet ass time to get to that point.
mm, yeah. Yeah, I kind of, yeah, like I said, I feel the same way with that. But like I said, there's still things to appreciate about
Yeah.
it, and I think that, I mean, obviously, I mean, the movie's getting high praise all around, so
Mhm.
I guess we're the minority here on that about the movie. Like you said, it's definitely going to be nominated for a bunch of awards
Oh, yeah.
there. I can see your point about maybe Oscar bait. I mean, this is a movie that, you'll be on tons of critics lists and go like, "This is the best movie of the year," and I kind of be like, really? Okay. I mean, I don't know. I think I saw some other stuff better. My voice get all high. I don't know. I saw some other stuff better.
It's like,
But
it's alright.
yeah, it's all right. But yeah, but Yeah, so for me, I would just kinda give it a stream it for me.
Mm.
Um, what about you?
Yeah, yeah. This is a stream it.
Mm, yeah. But hey, shout out to Chloe Zhao. She got back to her roots again.
Yeah, why not?
And she got back to what she would love doing there. And like I said, I mean, people loving it. Critic score, audience
Mm.
score, pretty high here for this movie. Let me show you there. Yeah, so it has a 92% audience score, and an 87% fresh meter there. So
Mhm.
we're kind of loving it there. So yeah, that was our thoughts. Hamnet.